Hey guys, welcome back to our weekly live event where we talk about credit, investing, personal finances, and how to get ahead. This week's topic is going to be regarding how the credit bureaus have recently lowered everybody's credit score and how they changed the standards of how they're measuring people's credit. So overall, most people are getting a drop in their credit score. At the same time, many credit card companies are reducing everybody's credit limit. If you've been following previous weeks, you said this is something I've been warning you guys about that's going to be coming, and it's starting to happen now. So we're going to kind of let everybody get on the live event, and I'll be able to start going into the details of what you should do and to answer any of your Q&As. So awesome. How are you guys doing? What's up, guys? Good to see everybody. What's up, Megs? From Boston. Awesome. Your credit score went up. Now, did you do something significant for it to go up? Because some people mentioned that they paid off a credit card or a high balance and then it went up. But where everyone just did the same exact thing and nothing changed from the prior month, a lot of people have actually mentioned their credit score went down. I put out this video Sunday, and it was actually early in the morning Sunday, late Saturday night, late Saturday night. And I was getting a lot of people saying that, yes, their score went down as well, and they didn't do anything. Board is looking mirrored. Yes, on IGTV, the board is backwards, but on YouTube, we're live on YouTube right now, it is not backwards. Hey, everybody on YouTube, how's the quality of the video? I did some upgrades to the video. I did some upgrades to the lighting, so it should be a lot better this week. Hopefully that'll go away in a second. So, hey, what's up, San Diego? So you made a significant change to your credit history. You paid off a card in full, so it went up some. Now, a lot of people, I'm getting a lot of messages saying, yes, I had nothing changed in my credit at all, and I had drops on my credit score. On average, we're seeing around 20 to 30 points drop. Thanks, brother. God bless you too. So, all right, let's pin this. So why did it go down? Let's go in here. So I want to go back to what happened in 2008. And around the 2008 housing crash, the credit bureaus readjusted everyone's credit. They changed the way they measured things. And the way they changed it actually hurt most people's credit score. It dropped everyone's credit score 20 to 30 points. So everything that I'm teaching in my course, it still applies. It's still going to help you. But what they did is they raised the bar and made it even harder, which causes everyone's credit score to go down when they raise the bar, which obviously is not going to help the economy. Back during the housing crisis of 2008, that happened, and it made things worse. In my opinion, the economy is going to do very bad. We're going to have a double dip, and I think they're trying to make it go down. I think they're going to try to make it go down, and they're going to start tightening a lot. So I think credit is going to freeze up, and we're going to see a lot of that next year. Now, how is that going to happen? So when they reassessed the credit, everyone's credit score, it drops everyone's credit score because they got more strict. When that happens, and we make everybody's credit score go down, that's going to be a problem. It's going to make the economy go down faster. So right now we have, let's just say, in this example, 100 people that is in the market. And out of this 100 people, we're going to say about 30% of them, or 30 of these 100, want to buy real estate. Now, out of these 30, we're going to say 20 can actually qualify. They want, but this part can qualify. So it doesn't matter what you want, is can you actually do it, right? And since this group here only 20 can qualify, if they start dropping people's credit score by 20 to 30 points, the amount of people that are going to qualify is probably going to drop to 15. Now, this might not seem like a lot, but that's a significant amount of buyers, right? Amount of buyers. Now, if you team this up with qualified buyers, and you mix that in with what else I was telling you guys, is that the available properties will go up, because right now there's only about a 2-month supply of properties for sale. Well, a large part of the reason why we only have 2 months is because there's a lot of properties that are in pre-foreclosure that cannot go into foreclosure because they did forbearances. You cannot complete foreclosures, not until about roughly April, May of 2021. Another large section of people, they can't get evicted until about that same time. So those properties are frozen. Nothing can really be done with those properties. So once that happens, we're going to see a large amount of properties go up for sale. So we're going to move to, say, a 3, then eventually up to 6-month supply. And at this point, this is going to become a buyer's market. Once you have a 6-month supply of homes, you're in a buyer's market. But that's going to freak people out even more. When you hear all of these negative factors, people are not going to be offering what they're offering now. They're not going to be as aggressive when they're buying homes. They're going to be start offering less than what the people are asking, causing prices to go down, causing people to freak out, which is eventually going to cause a larger supply. Is it going to get as bad as 08? In some areas, I'm going to say yes. Some areas it's going to get as bad as 08. In other areas, it's not going to get that bad, but you are going to see better deals in a year from now than you are today. Because right now, there's not a lot of supply on the market. And it's very simple economics. When you have more supply and less demand, remember, it's not people who want to buy a house, it's who can actually buy a house based off of credit and other factors. So when you put everything together about how they're lowering people's credit score, their points, they're lowering people's credit limits on credit cards, which is going to lower their points. It's going to lower businesses' lines of credit, which is going to give them less money to make less qualified buyers. All these factors are going to increase the number of or remove the number of qualified buyers in the market. At that point, supply is going to increase, which is going to also continue to drive down prices. So supply is going to increase, number of qualified buyers is going to decrease, which is going to cause pricing for housing to go down overall. Okay, so that's what I think. Why I think it's not a great time to buy in housing. Now, the stock market. Some people have been asking me about that. I think the stock market, certain companies will do well, other companies will not. So like Amazon, like they're going to continue to do well. Do I think they're really overpriced right now? I do, but I think net long term, they're going to do really well. So hope that answers. So Martina says his dropped 30 points. Martinez, can you tell us why you think yours dropped? Hey guys. So anyone on IG that wants to see it better, go onto YouTube. It looks a lot better, okay? The quality is a lot better. He's teaching valuable lessons here, and y'all are acting stupid. What can I say?
What's up, man? What's up?
What's up, buddy? What question do you have for us? All right. All right. So, some of these DMs are funny. Dave's like, I love you so much. Love you too, Dave. All right. Let's see. TBT Light Stout says underrated. Thanks, brother. I appreciate the lessons, but I can't read doctor's lettering on reverse. Yes, I do write like a doctor. Yes, I do scribble. But if you're on YouTube, YouTube is a lot larger and it's more clear. Plus, these videos go up on YouTube and they're saved the next morning at 10 a.m. So you'll be able to go on and stop the video and go into detail, right? So feel free to ask your questions and I'll make sure to answer them. So then you can come back later and look at them. And for everybody on YouTube and IG that just gave hearts and thumbs up, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to try to figure out a way to reverse it on IG. Anyone has any suggestions? Let me know. I recently reached out to 3 major banks and none of are currently refis on rental properties. Any thoughts? You want to go to a broker. So like brokers have a lot more options on doing refis. Okay. And a lot of people are like, oh, lending's not going to change. Lending's not going to change. Lending does change. They tighten lending guidelines when the market goes down. So you have to be prepared for that. I'm doing refinances now. I'm getting all my money out now because when you need the money, and trust me, I had this same argument with my dad. I'm going to tell you like 13 years ago. I told him, I was like, Dad, take your money out now. He's like, but I don't need to use the money. Why am I going to take it out and pay interest on that money? I said, because when you need it, it won't be there. They're going to take away your line of credit. They're going to take away the ability for you to get loans. When things shrivel up, you won't have the ability to get this money. And he's like, well, I don't need it and I don't want it, blah, blah, blah. He didn't realize that once things went down and no one could use credit, because again, 97% of the money in the market is credit. And when that freezes up, only people that are really left are a lot of the cash people. Excuse me. They have a lot of power. They have a lot of purchasing power. So when you're out and you're one of the only people that left that has cash, you can make moves. You can make some big moves. So do your refis now. Go to a broker and get your money out, because even though you're going to pay interest today and hold the money for maybe a year, when the deals start coming, the profit on those deals are going to be so large. It's going to be you're going to be so profitable that interest that you paid for the year while the money just sat there won't matter. All right, let's see who wants to go live. Hey, what's up, buddy? You're live. All right. What kind of properties do you suggest would be a great investment? For example, townhouse, neighborhoods, houses. I do not suggest townhouses, houses, or condos. They're not profitable to rent. If they were profitable, I would suggest them, but they're not. The minimum I would say is buy a duplex, because if you buy a duplex, you have 2 people paying you rent. You have 2 rental incomes covering the roof. You have twice the money to cover these expenses. And if one tenant leaves, you still have half the money coming in. If you own a condo and one tenant leaves, you have no money coming in. So it is less risky to buy a more expensive property that has 2 units. Trust me, I've done this for a long time, and the people who end up buying condos don't end up making any money. They do a lot of work themselves, and at the end of the day, they don't make any money. So the goal of doing this work, putting out the energy, is to make money, be profitable. The other point is this, is that when you get your first loan, the easiest loan to get is your first loan. The same amount of work it's going to take you to get the one loan for one condo, it will take you the same amount of work to get the loan for a 4-unit property. And it's basically the same amount of money that you would need for the down payment on a 4-unit property than you would on a condo. So it's not much money. It's not a significant amount of difference. Your first deal is the easiest. So keep looking. So build your credit up until you can get business credit. That is a good idea, right? Getting business credit is good. It won't show up on your personal credit. Do remember, when the credit freezes up, they freeze up all the credit, not just personal credit. They reduce business credit lines and personal credit lines. Lucy says, hey, Pascal, YouTube looks great. Awesome. Dave says, you look a lot hotter here. Thanks, Dave. Hugo, what's up, Hugo? So Fishy says, would you be able to put down a down payment if you lost your job or got your hours cut? Would you be able to put down a down payment if you lost your job or got your hours cut? Well, I don't know. I don't know how much cash you have in savings, but if you lost your job, you're not gonna be able to qualify for a loan. So be very careful about that, right? You're not gonna be able to qualify for a loan. So save up your money. If you're not able to buy a property and qualify for a loan, maybe you can use that money to invest with somebody else. And but again, don't give away all your money. You need to have money to cover your expenses. Make sure you have at least 11 months worth of reserves for all your expenses to continue living comfortably without freaking out if you cannot find a job immediately. It's very important. Right now, I'm gonna step back and just tell you what I'm doing, how I'm preparing for this. I know the market's gonna go down in a year. And I know during that time period, it is very stressful. Your friends and family are going to freak out. They're going to act like the world is ending. And you're going to be very emotional. And it's a lot of mental and physical stress on yourself, emotional stress, and it's hard to deal with. So right now, I'm working out a lot. Now, that might sound weird. Like, why is he working out a lot if he thinks in a year things are going to be tough? If in a year things are going to be tough, shouldn't he be working more and saving more money? Yes, I am saving money. But in addition, I'm physically working out so I can build myself up physically. I'm taking 30 pills a day, different vitamins and minerals and whatever, because I want to become very strong physically, because when it's emotionally draining, spiritually draining, it's going to be a lot on you, and you might not be there to invest when things get cheap. You might be too scared. Everyone might get in your head and say, you know what, this is not the right time to buy. Everything is bad. The world's ending. It's a bad investment. Don't do it. All these people lost money in real estate and the stock market and whatever. Don't do it. It's too late. Blah, 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 blah. You need to be emotionally strong, physically strong, spiritually strong, and you need to prep yourself. So that's why I'm working out a lot, taking my vitamins and just preparing myself. So in a year, when all that stress is coming on me, I'll still be able to be strong enough to make the smart decision and to buy those distressed assets and have enough faith that their things are going to get better. I buy the properties people don't want to buy because that's the biggest profit. People are going to say, don't get into retail. Retail is the worst ever. People today are telling me that. They're like, why are you going to go buy retail, Pascal? I'm like, well, when that $6 million property is now selling for $3 million, and next year it's probably going to sell for $1 million, I'm going to go buy it because I know eventually it's going to go back to normal and I'll be able to resell it at $6 million. So I'm going to buy the distressed assets. I'm going to buy the scary things to buy, the risky things to buy, and I'm going to have enough strength and courage to do it. So prepare yourselves for those times. There's going to be great opportunities, but you have to be ready for it. And don't let yourself get caught up with what everybody's saying. All right. All right. What's up, Sal?
Hey, it doesn't even
What's going on?
Hey, what's up, Sal? I was trimming my mustache.
Looking sharp, buddy.
Good to finally meet you.
Awesome.
Thank you for all your good.
You're very welcome.
I had a question concerning, I know what you just reiterated about investing in a multiplex rather than just an individual because of the ingress of income, even if times are bad and all that. But what I was particularly looking at was I came across a single section. Well, it wasn't a single. It had 2 lots on it.
Okay.
Designated for 2 lots.
Okay.
But it was about a third of an acre.
Okay.
With 1 home on it.
Okay.
The home was kind of old, run down. But what I was thinking is I brainstormed. I agree with everything you said about, if the economy is going to go into more recession and everything's going to tighten up in terms of credit. However, whether in a good economy or a bad economy, if anyone is particularly buying a plot of land that's designated for two spaces for building, does it matter really if it's a bad economy or a good economy, so long as you get a good price on the property and then you could build on the second and basically sell that?
So it's a good idea if you're in the business of building properties and selling it. One, if you're an individual getting a general contractor to build a property for you to resell it, it is rare that you're going to be profitable in that situation unless you have connections. 1. 2, I don't advise people to invest in land unless they already have money, because the goal is what I'm trying to get people to is the goal that I have for everybody is to have them financially free. And financially free is not, and you're constantly working right now, is not through land. Land is not going to provide you cash. So the goal is to make you financially free. And how you become financially free is by building cash flow. Land is not going to give you cash flow right away. Land builds wealth. So if you already have cash coming in and you're like, I don't need any more cash, I need to build wealth. Now, again, that sounds very funky to a lot of people, right? Well, what do you mean I don't need more cash? Everyone needs more cash. No, people who have a lot of cash don't need more cash. Like the moves I make now aren't to bring in more cash. I have enough cash coming in. I make moves now to build wealth, right? Because an additional, unless it makes sense for me to get more cash in this deal, I'm really focusing on deals where I make my, for example, I bought the property in Safety Harbor, bought it for $1 million, spent $800,000 and built about another 1.2 million in wealth by that deal. The goal wasn't really the cash flow each month. The goal was to build wealth. Now, but for what you guys, I'm teaching you guys, since you're trying to replace your jobs, build more freedom, or bring in more cash, my goal is for you not to do that type of deal, because to do that deal, you have to have a lot of money. My goal for you is to do a deal that doesn't require as much money, but brings you in a lot of cash. So so to simplify the answer is, if you bought something that's already 2 units, you already have 2 streams of income. It doesn't cost you much money for you to upgrade each side and then increase the amount of cash you bring in. In addition to that, you would then increase the value because you brought up the rent. You could refinance and pull cash out. All of those moves are very easy, but the move you're making, the move you're suggesting is a nice idea, but it is hard to execute. It's more of an advanced move.
No, I understand that. The reason why I say that, because for me particularly, I used to build homes in Hawaii, West Coast.
Okay.
So I worked for a small contractor. We built everything. I worked in everything from the excavation. I got experience to actually handing over the key.
Okay.
And then custom homes that I worked with some exotic woods that I'd never touched. I just wanted to burn my money.
Yeah.
But me particularly, I even actually worked in an engineering office on the West Coast. So I know when it goes in into for building. I know what's involved. I can do the mathematics and I can do all that. Now it's computing systems and it just you put in certain specifications and it shows you if it's possible or not. So the reason why I say that is because it's more for me, particularly leveraging. I know on the West Coast they call it spec homes. I don't know what they call it here on the East Coast, but
I do get what you're saying. Yeah, we have spec homes here too. So,
right. So when you do,
go ahead.
I know because of the last recession in 2008, they changed a lot of the construction loans. Banks had changed a lot of their requirement. Essentially, from what I did or found out, is that it's usually they want 100% of what the cost is to build, which is essentially you having the money yourself. So that's basically one of the setbacks in this time. I don't know if it's like exactly that. That was about 45 years ago when I got that information. I don't know if it's like that to this date, but since I have the background that I have, I thought, you know what? I understand completely your logic and the understanding. It's almost like ascending a stair step, 100 feet or whatever. So you're slowly progressing and you're doing that methodically. But
yeah, let's put it like this. I get what you're saying, and I get your background, right? But the background that you have is technical, which is good. But to apply that technical background and the amount of financing you need to even get a construction loan, a building construction loan, isn't easy. It's not easy. So it's a good idea, but it's not something that you can execute step one. I mean, again, obviously, it's if a person has money, they can do this. But remember, for this type of thing, you'll need about 20% down. So if you're going to buy this property, if you're going to build, first you're going to buy the property, and then you got to separate the lots. Then you have to put in 20% down to do the build. So you're talking about, how much is this property?
It was listed for $65,000.
65,000. Oh, and what would it be worth if you built a brand new property?
See, that's the thing.
And then what would it be worth?
Yeah, with the local market, I could probably just one unit alone, it would sell at least $200,000.
Okay, so how much would it cost to fix up the $65,000 property?
Yeah, well, see, that's the thing is it would depend if I was just to leave it. It's a small little. It's like I think it's a 2-bed, 1 bath. It's a small space. It's too small. If anything, it would be a remodel and building on top of that and extending all that. But I would truly, instead of doing that, I would just knock it down and build another one.
So basically, you're going to buy the land for $65,000, and then you're going to build 2 properties. Right now, building cost is like $200 a square foot for anybody that's good. And if you're going to build 2 1,000 square foot homes, it's going to cost you $200,000 per home. So you're going to basically do all that work to lose $30,000 a property. Yeah, it's a lot. Like, I get what you're saying, but it is a lot of work right now to do that. And I also think building is going to be even harder after this market goes down. So everyone in the DM, please stop cursing. Okay. This is about learning. This is not about doing all that. All right. So I'm going to start blocking people if you guys don't calm down. Okay. So it's one, all the cost of all materials is going to go up, despite we're going to go into a recession and people are going to buy less items. The amount of actual availability of items, not houses, but items like wire, metal, wood is going to go down. So because it's going to go down, anyway,
it's going to be cheaper.
No, because the items are not available, the price of the items are going to go up.
Oh, it will be less, is what you're saying.
Yeah, because the quantity of items for sale are going to go down, the actual price of the items are going to go up.
Yeah. And that always happens during recessions.
This is a very unique scenario, but because of COVID, there's not a lot of stuff being imported, and it's gonna have that crunch.
Yeah, no, I can see that. Yeah.
All right.
Someone like, if I was doing that all myself, obviously it's a lot of work. It's going to require a lot of dollar. But if you had a group of investors where you got together, friends, and basically leverage your capital and your leverage all the resource, it could. What I'm trying to figure out is I haven't ran the numbers, but that's why I'm asking the question to you, because you may have, or you may have come across someone that has, where it's essentially it's like spec home development.
But let me go back. Let me go back to my prior point. If you run the numbers and you see it's not profitable, it doesn't matter who invests with you, right? If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. If you get Warren Buffett to give you $1 billion, but if you're running numbers and the numbers aren't making money after you put in the billion, you actually only bring out 700,000. It doesn't make sense, because in the example you gave, you bought the land for $650. It cost you $200K to build the 2 houses. You're selling them for $200K. You just lost $65,000. You bought the land for $65,000. You spent $400 to build. You got $400 when you sold, and you lost $65,000. So it doesn't matter how many investors you get into this deal. That specific deal you just mentioned isn't good. They could basically give you the land for free, and it's still not a good deal.
I see.
Right? Even if they gave it to you for free and you built 2 homes, you'd basically just sell the homes for what they cost, unless you can get over $200 a square foot for the home. Or if the cost of building, cost of labor, cost of materials is cheaper in your area, which I don't know if that is if you're in a popular area.
Yeah.
So most of the time, the money is Burr method: buy, remodel, rent, refinance. So that is they're going to be your number one strategy.
I understand. All right. I don't. At the very moment, I don't have another question, but I do. It's just not. It's more because I was engaging you right now with this particular.
It's okay. Bring back your question. It's all good.
Yeah. All right. All right. Thank you for your help. Yeah.
It's all good. Thanks, Al.
Take care.
Sal has a lot of good questions. The big point is he has good questions. Numbers don't always make sense at the first time you do it. I had to run numbers hundreds of times before I could start seeing patterns of what's profitable. Okay? All right, let's see. Jojo King, I love you, man. Love you too, Jojo. Julian says, hey, what's up? You're live.
Sure. All right, I'm on the live. What's up?
Hey, what's up, brother?
First, I want to start off by saying I found you on one of Rich's live. You were on his live, and then I was like, yo, I'm going to go check this dude out. So I checked your account out. Anyway.
What do you think? What do you think of my account?
So far, I mean, this is my second time watching your live. It's good shit. I'll be honest. You know, it's interesting. I'm just trying to get into real estate and learn and stuff. But another question. So I was the one who asked about what kind of properties you invest in. What if you purchase a property and purchase, if you have the money there to purchase all the condos? What is your thought on that? It's not just one unit of condos, but multiple.
So this is the thing. Are you talking about you're buying the whole apartment complex, or you're just buying like 20 units out of 200?
20 out of 200, not the entire.
Won't make sense. Just put it like this. This goes back to what I was saying before. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. Because if you give me the numbers right now, what it costs to buy, I'll give you the mortgage amount. You give me the association dues. I can guess what the association dues are. I used to be on the board of a condo association. We'll talk about the taxes, the insurance, right? When you go taxes, insurance, association dues, and the mortgage amount, you'll maybe make $100 a month. Maybe. And that's if the condo association does an amazing job of maintaining the property, and they don't send you a bill saying, hey, yo, you need to send us $5,000 because we don't have enough money in our reserves, and we need $5,000 from you to help change the roof. But you're like, wait, I've been spending $300 a month sending you guys this for like 3 years. You don't have $5,000 to cover the roof. You guys are supposed to cover the roof. My point is, they normally don't manage the money right, and you're going to end up not making any money. Now, if you took the cost of buying 4 condos, right, and instead you bought a 4-plex, you're keeping that $300 a month per unit. That's an extra $1,200 that's going into your pocket. So per month, if all things equal, you're getting $1,600 extra a month. You're getting $1,600 in a month by owning a 4-plex compared to only $400 a month by getting 4 condos. Now, let's move forward. After a year, you got like what? 16, 32. You got $19,200. Say the roof goes bad. One roof is covering 4 units. If you owned a house, now this is why I don't like houses, you have one roof covering 1 unit. Your net income at the end is better in a 4 unit. The resale price of a 4 unit stays higher than any of those other condo, townhouse, and home. You're going to see condos tank when the market gets readjusted. They go down hard. I bought my condo in 2000 and I'm going to say I think 10 or 11. Bro, they were selling for $150,000. Guess how much I bought my condo for?
Less than that.
Less than 150. Guess.
Like maybe 70.
Less.
50.
Less.
40.
Less.
All right, so we're talking like 20 then?
$28,000.
Yeah.
$28,000. I pimped that thing out. It looked sexy, so nice. Sold it like 5 years later for like 95. Then bought a 3-bedroom, did the same thing, and sold it. And remember, at that time, I had 23 units because I was living in the condo. It was not an investment. The place you live isn't really an investment unless you're buying a 4-plex, okay? Then the place you're living is an investment. So,
when you also mentioned how you buy properties that nobody wants to buy. And like when you go to search for your properties to purchase, what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for some that you can, if they're, let's say they're in shitty condition, they're really bad, they're kind of beat up, and then are you looking for properties in which you can add more units in? That way, the amount of tenants that you have, the amount of cash flow that you have coming from that property is increased, or you just kind of
so
properties?
I know what you're saying, and you have a great idea. You kind of run it's good idea, right? So what me and Richard are doing, we've been doing this for a while. Like we're on a different level. So like I've been doing this with my own money since I was 19. Like I didn't take an investor till like 3 months ago. So I built all these 35 units I own right now. They're all my own money. I just recently took on an investor. So that idea is good, but normally for your scenario, I would try to buy a 4-plex that needs to be fixed up in a good area, and that's getting better, okay? And then you just upgrade each unit. Then you're going to increase the rents, and as you increase the rents, because the units are nicer and you're managing the asset better, the value of the asset's going to go up. You'll be able to refinance and pull cash out, and then you'll be able to do it again. Now later, once you get to another level, you'll be able to comfortably build additional units or split the property up and get more units. Because once you start doing work that needs permits, especially major work, like putting a new roof or a new water heater, that requires permits, but it's not a big deal. But when you're adding more units, those are significant permits And the time that you're under review by the county and the city is months. I mean, all I did was convert a garage into a bedroom. That process took 18 months.
Damn.
Yeah, it was stupid. It was crazy. Does it always that bad? No, but once in a while, bad things happen, and you have to be able to afford it. And if I was over there, or if I was in the beginning trying to do that, it'd be really tough.
So, how did you start off then? You said you started at 19, and you started with your own money. How did you go about it? Because I know I read somebody's question and they asked, how did you start without loans or investors? And honestly, I was getting ready to ask that, and I was wondering how you went about it.
So when I started studying when I was 14, and I started like flipping Pokemon cards, video games, all that stuff. And then as time went on, I was saving up more and more money, flipping coins. I would buy and sell coins. I would work for like $8 to $12 an hour, save up all my money. I would tutor people in math, save up that money. So I was very good at saving because I always had an idea. I was like, I could spend this money, but the joy I'm going to get out of this spending isn't going to be enough for how hard I work to get this money.
Gotcha. So
guys, if you guys are cursing on the chat section, I'm going to block you guys. So please chill out. Okay. And if anyone's being crazy, just ignore them. Let's just focus on like learning.
Gotcha.
So
it's just funny seeing them, but
yeah, I mean, it's like, So, so to the point, so I saved up all them. So by the time I was 19, I had like $32,000 saved up.
Gotcha. So that's not bad. I'm just trying to kind of get an idea of where to go about these things because I kind of want to go into real estate as well. And not like, sell houses and stuff like that, but kind of invest in properties and be able to get that cash flow coming in. I was talking to my brother's my brother's father-in-law. He was telling me with the way the economy is at, he was saying that he had people coming in and investing in houses. Like I don't know exactly what it is. He works in real estate, but I don't know exactly what it is he does. But he was telling me that he had people literally with $100 just in their bank being able to come in, finance a house, and kind of start off with being able to, use that house as a move in, rent it out. Once they get kind of whatever it is they need to do done. And that sounds like a good idea, but
it's possible. Like so you can definitely do that, right? Like you can get, and I know Richard doesn't agree with that. So let me put it like this: any type of financing is good to use as long as you have a sick deal. The only thing that matters is having an amazing deal because you make your money in the buy. That's it. You make your money in the buy. So, for example, he was Sal was telling me about the property he was looking at, and you're telling me about the condos. It doesn't matter how many condos you can afford. It doesn't matter about any of those factors. What matters is it a good deal? But if at the end of the day, on the condos, you're only making $100, it's not a good deal. If at the end of the day, if you're buying a piece of land, a huge piece of land, it could be, by me, you could buy 2-acre piece of land, but you can only build one house per 2 acres. It doesn't matter how cheap you get the land. If they give you the land for free and you build a house and you can't resell that house for a profit, it's not worth anything. Does that, so understand that concept is the deal good? If the deal's good and you buy a fourplex and you're able to jump in and get a good deal, okay, great. Do FHA loan with only 3.5% down. It's a $400,000 property, so you're going to put down $14,000 plus $5,000 in closing costs, $19,000. You can go out to the county and try to get one of those assistance programs where they help you with the down payment. You can get a seller's credit for about $6,000 to cut off out of the $19,000, and you'll be able to find money here and there to come up with the $19,000. It's not about coming up with the $19,000. It's about finding a good deal. And dude, if you find a good enough deal on a fourplex, someone else will front the money, right? If you found a fourplex for $400,000, let's just say, but it's worth $500,000 because you're mailing letters or you're doing whatever, or you got a connection somehow, someone else will put up the money to automatically have $100,000 in equity,
Gotcha. Okay, so when you talk about good deals, what exactly are you looking for in a good deal? for
So
property.
can you increase the value of the asset, right? Like if I'm buying it at 400 and I put in like 30,000, can I make it worth 500 or 600? Because then I can go and do a refinance after, say, 6 months. Normally it's a 6-month wait. After 6 months, sometimes they make it into a year wait. But after that period of time where I fix it up, I increase the rents, and then I go for my refinance, I can pull out all my equity again. Now I have all my cash back, and I look for another deal to do the same exact thing.
Gotcha.
Because the point is, at the end of the day, if you have no money in that deal,
Then it's a bad deal.
no, that's a good deal. Because if I have no money in the deal, once I get all my money back, now I now own the property with none of my money in it. And now I got my cash back in my hand, and I'm going to buy another one.
So is that kind of the concept of refinancing, is being able to get your money back?
Yes. Or get a lower interest rate and lower your payments. It depends on your strategy. But that's what the Burr method is, to get your cash back.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I very much appreciate you answering my questions. It definitely helped a lot. Kind of getting the gears working. But I guess I'm gonna hop off the line now. But it was really nice chatting with you. I very much appreciate it.
Awesome. Bring back some more questions.
Right,
I'll see you later.
I will. See ya.
Awesome. Great questions. All right. So Julian says, "Hey Pascal, just wondering. I was trying to find a new job. Would it affect me in obtaining a loan if I get into a better paying job?" It won't affect you unless you're changing industries. If you're changing industries, then it could affect you. It really depends what you're doing. So next question I have here is, what would the banks expect if the US dollar declines? The US dollar declining is not an issue for the banks, because the banks are using US dollars. So that's not going to be an effect. Normally in a bad economy, the US dollar gets stronger because other countries will start buying dollars because it's a safer currency. All right. I'm going to start blocking people. All right. So I got another question. Yo, what's good? It's Demetrius Damascus. What's going on? I have a question. I'm trying to get a job, but I have to pay to get in the job. What does that mean? I don't understand why you have to pay to get a job. It doesn't make sense. All right, let's answer those questions.
Hello?
Hey, what's good?
Yeah, boy, come get your ugly ass up, boy. Your ugly bisco head ass, boy. Your head look like a lot of beat, ugly ass, boy. My spot the shit out your ugly ass, boy.
Okay, that's very mature. And now Anime is getting blocked. This man getting a job in Syria. Actually, I am from Syria. All right. Is refinancing a good or a bad thing in the long run? I think it's a good thing. I think it's a very good thing. So this is the point. If you're borrowing money and the dollar is getting depreciated, so it's worth less every single year, I don't want to pay it back today. I'm going to pay it back as far in the future as possible. So just remember this. If you get $100,000 today, in 10 years, you would need $130,000 to have the same purchasing power. What that means is dollars they're worth less. So you're going to make, in 10 years, people are going to get paid more. So it's easier to pay it back. Dollars are worth less. So I want to wait as long as possible to pay back the loan. Now you might say, well, what about the interest? Well, if the interest rate's low, if you're like under 5% on a loan, a commercial loan, a real estate loan, that's very cheap money because our inflation rate is 3%. You're really paying the difference in the spread. So if you're buying real estate that has an appreciation rate of 3 to 7%, you're making your money in the spread. And all the wealthy people make their money in the spread. If you need to ask, if you want me to go into more detail, let me know, and I'll go into more detail. But the answer is yes. And as long as you use the money in the refinance to purchase more assets, you're good. You're straight. It's a smart idea. Everyone on YouTube, thanks for all the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the love on IG as well. What do you think of warehouses? I think warehouses are great, as long as it's a profitable warehouse, right? It's not just blanket warehouses are good, blanket apartments are good. No, some properties are not worth buying because they need too much, money for the purchase, or they need you need to spend too much for the upgrades. Yet they're charging a lot of money to purchase the property. At the end of the day, if purchase plus remodel should be about 70 to 80% of your ARV. If it's not, then it's not worth it. All right. Since you said changing industries might affect your loan eligibility, I'm currently saving for a down payment with my partner. I am currently in sales, but graduating with a nursing degree. Question is, so Brianna, you have a great question. And actually, I addressed this question in my course. So in my course, I actually answer the same example. Say you have a person that's going to school for nursing, but they're a bartender, and now they're switching from a bartender into nursing. Will that affect them? The answer is no, because they're going to show the history of going to college to be a nurse. And now they finally became a nurse and they're making more money. So that will be allowable because you're showing the history. Another example I teach in my course is a person that's an electrician, but on a beginning level, and they finally get certain certificates to move up onto a higher level as an electrician, so they're paid more money. When they show that, hey, look, I got these additional certifications, and now that's why I got a raise, the banks will account that higher income amount. So my link in the bio on my IG page is to my course, Foundations of Personal Finance, where it goes over credit, it goes over lending, getting approved, which loans types you should get, how to find and close on your deal, tax returns. It's all of your foundational items of your personal finance. This it's not only used for real estate. If you do anything in the new financial market, you need to know this information. This is everything that you should have learned in high school and college to understand how to become successful financially in the real world. So Robert Kiyosaki says, this is your report card in the real world. And they don't teach you that in school. So, all right. So buying 2 duplexes with $40,000 for the down payment, a good move? It sounds like a good move, but it really depends on what is your net income after doing that. Did you buy the properties at market price or below market price? Did you buy in a good neighborhood or not in a good neighborhood? All those factors matter. How long should I be with a new job for it not to affect me? Well, as a nurse, it won't take much time because, again, you have the prior history of going to college to become a nurse. Question is, what is a refinance? A refinance is when you own a property and you have a mortgage on that property, or maybe you might not have a mortgage. You go to the bank and you say, hey, I would like a new mortgage on this same property that I own. Give me all the cash. So if say you have a $200,000 property, you have a $200,000 property, and you go to the bank and you say, hey, I would like a loan. If it's an investment property, normally they'll give you a loan at 70% loan to value. Sometimes it's a little bit higher than that. They can go to 80%, but let's just say standard 70%. They'll give you up to $140,000 on this property, and they're going to just send you that cash. Now, let's just say you currently have a mortgage that's $100,000. I currently have a loan for $100,000. The bank will just take this $140,000, pay off this loan here for $100,000, and they'll give you $40,000 cash. The goal is to take this $40,000 cash, put a down payment onto another property. So you could buy another $200,000 property with this $40,000 as a down payment. And you would get a loan for $160,000 to purchase the property. That is the basis of the strategies that I teach. And that's how I got to 23 units by the age of 23. That's how I built all my wealth. Using these strategies, using what's currently available within our financial system, and just making sure that I'm using every single rule possible to be successful. All right. All right, guys. Let's answer some more questions. What's up, buddy? What questions do you have for us today?
There's a roach behind you.
Where?
It crawled on the ceiling.
I don't see anything. Do you have any other questions?
No.
All right. Thanks for looking out. Spencer, that's a funny guy. All right. What do you think about PMI? So PMI, obviously, I don't like it, right? Private mortgage insurance, it gives you no benefit. You're not benefiting at all from PMI. But if you have to pay PMI, you want to make sure that you're going to get a good deal. Because let's put it like this. If the bank if I went to the bank and the bank said, Pascal, you have to pay 10% interest for a loan, it wouldn't matter to me if I had an amazing deal, right? If I'm going to buy a property, say at 70% of what it's worth, I'll pay 10% interest. I'll stabilize the asset, and then I'll refinance to a better interest rate. Same thing with PMI. So if you're getting a loan that has PMI, but you're getting an amazing deal, right? You're buying a good property. You'll be able to fix it up and do a refinance and get rid of the PMI. All right. With FHA, you need insurance. And do you take zoning into consideration? So one, FHA does need insurance, but the insurance that we're talking about is called PMI, private mortgage insurance. So do I consider zoning? Well, if I'm buying a duplex, it's zoned as a duplex, right? Isam says, it is logical that you don't teach us this. It is logical they don't teach us this in school. Not everybody is going to be an entrepreneur. We need workers. I agree not everyone's going to be an entrepreneur, but everyone does use credit. Everyone does tax returns, right? If you're going to work, you have to file a tax return. So you should know how your tax returns work. You should know how insurance works. You should know how credit works. You should understand different financing models. Most people want to buy a home, right? The American dream they teach us is buy your own home. Well, you should be able to run the numbers on that. They should teach you until you understand about stocks and bonds. If you're going to have money and you need to spend it, you need to know how to spend it. Most people, they're just giving people money. Like, if they keep giving people money and they keep spending it like on bad stuff, like stuff that's not going to benefit them. So Wilf, you are getting blocked. So anyone who curses, I'm going to block you. Yeah, refinance and get rid of the insurance. All right. What other advice you guys got or questions you guys got? All right. Lucy says, in your course, you talk about 4 types of loans. Do you think those loans will change the requirements when the market tanks? Yeah, loan requirements change consistently. So you have to be aware of what the conditions are. They can change interest rates, amounts, down payment amounts, certain factors. But most of these government loans are still going to be beneficial for first-time home buyers. So you shouldn't be too worried about the first-time home buyer program. So what's up, Sal? What question do you have for us?
It was continuing with what you had said just like a couple of minutes ago about purchasing a good deal and then refinancing, because if PMI was a good or a bad thing. I had a friend that actually purchased a condo. He was trying to go through traditional FHA, all the tools that anyone would purchase or use for the first time purchase, but he would, because of his employment or his history, I guess it wasn't showing high high income.
Okay.
He was getting shut.
Okay.
So I think he has like 8 units now.
Okay.
They're all multiplex. Anyhow, he was telling me that if he was to do it all over again, he would go to a broker and get a higher interest. Like you were saying, if a bank offered you 10%, he recommended I would go to a broker, end up purchasing it because I could have the property in 3 weeks compared to going through traditional escrow, which sometimes takes even more than 30 days sometimes. And he said, then I would just refinance because it allows me to get everything quicker. That is in parallel to what you were saying about a 10% interest rate.
Well, the 10%, no. So let me first, if you go to a mortgage broker, normally they give you a lower interest rate than the banks. I'll repeat that. Mortgage brokers normally get you a lower interest rate from the bank. I can give you a Wells Fargo mortgage cheaper than Wells Fargo gives it to you because I'm getting them at wholesale and I'm selling them to you with just a lower markup. Where if you go into a Wells Fargo branch, they're going to sell it to you at retail and they actually make they charge double the profit that we would make. So we charge a lot less than what they charge. So that's one. The 10% example is just a crazy example. Do I actually buy anything with a 10% loan? No. I do not buy anything with a 10% loan. I don't have to because there's so many cheap loan options out there. It's sort of a crazy example. In reality, I don't. Most of my loans are like top 5.5%. So the point is that you have those options out there. So does your buddy, I do agree with your buddy. If you have to get a loan and you need to get PMI or you need to pay these fees, it's fine as long as the deal is very good because you could refinance out of it. It's just the cost of doing business. Because if you're going to pay, let's just say $10,000 in extra fees and interest and whatever, but you still got the deal, who cares if you're making $100,000? It's better for you to make $100 and pay $10,000 in interest than for you to make nothing. It's better for you to make the $100,000 and pay taxes than for you not to make the 100 and make nothing. I've heard people say that too. They're like, oh, I don't want to pay all those taxes from making that money. I said, well, isn't it better for you to make the money, pay some taxes and keep the difference? So let's focus on the reality of getting good deals and being profitable is the most important thing.
Yeah. So even if it's a private broker, they still end up getting the interest rate at wholesale. Is that right?
Yeah, because private broker, or what do you mean by private broker?
So they're essentially, I guess, their own, pretty much like their own entity, a lot like an angel investor. They basically.
Okay, so you're talking about a hard money lender. A hard money lender is different than a broker. It's not the same. A hard money lender is lending money, hard money. A broker is actually brokering different companies' loans.
Right. Yeah, no, I was basically using the same expression for separate functions or separate disciplines.
Yeah. So it's not. It's can a broker sell a hard money loan as well? Yes, but it's not. They're not technically the same thing. Hard money and a broker are different. Broker is brokering the deal. Like I also own an insurance brokerage. We broker other insurance products. So we find what is the best deal for you.
Lastly, so I don't even do any live feeds like you do regularly. But so I studied martial arts, and you have to realize you're dealing with the world at large. When you expose yourself like this, people come out of everywhere to basically throw you off your balance.
Yeah.
You have to realize that's who you're engaging here.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good study of Japanese culture, and the Japanese say this: do not accept what your opponent offers. So realize half of the people coming through on your feeds here,
mm-hmm.
they're not to listen and learn and push that forward for themselves or even their family. They're here to bring chaos. So you have to...
The number, to just be more accurate, is 3%. 3% of the people will actually want to listen. 1% will fully act.
Yeah, look at that. Even less. Like,
and out of the people that pay for my course, right? Out of those people, they're going to learn something. But the statistic is 15% will actually use all the information and get to 20 units. Not because the information isn't there, but because they don't take the action. Right?
Yeah,
like I can tell you, you're like, oh, okay, Pascal, I want to be a powerlifter like you. What do? I'll tell them everything. I've had people DM me say, hey, how do I do this? I'll tell them, I'll answer their question. Then they unfollow me because it involved them doing something. So I will show you the way, but I can't make you do it, right? Like I'll show you the door. You have to walk through it. There's something that you can't do that, right? And even if, hypothetically, you get wealthy, someone throws you a ton of money and you now have $2 million, right? Most of those people lose all of it because it doesn't matter that you got it. You didn't know how to get it, so you don't know how to keep it.
Right.
So just because you were lucky doesn't mean anything. You're going to end up probably losing it. So you have to learn these skills to keep it. These are skills that everyone needs to learn. Credit, taxes, finances.
Yeah, actually, it goes with the individual. So my parents are from Mexico, right? They're immigrants. A lot like many people, if you go generations back. I can say with 100% certainty that if I came across money, whether it given to me or even if I had worked for it to a certain extent, it was a substantial amount, I would have destroyed myself. 100%, like not maybe, 100%. So with my life and experience, I've become more self-disciplined at the same time, critical in analysis of just having common sense. And obviously education's helped me, but having common sense and then applying my own inner knowledge and common sense to what is coming at me or being offered to me. Mm-hmm. And I already know, my dreams show me, my sleep night dreams, I'm investing. I had a dream with Warren Buffett. He came into my dream. He told me what to invest in. So that's how I know, oh, all right, I'm headed on the right track. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, this was going with everything that I was saying earlier. So recently I started to look into, or to finish up with that, I noticed you have to have a lot of discipline, inner discipline, to basically not just self-control yourself, but at the same time execute, because it's like wrangling a bull. True.
So like I said earlier, to tie into what I said earlier, in the future, the market's going to go down. Everyone's going to be scared and not going to have the strength, the inner strength, to buy the deals when they're cheap because they're so scared and everybody else is scared. So you need to have that inner strength, right? So financials are like dieting and exercising. It doesn't matter how much money you make. If you can't save money, you're not going to grow. It doesn't matter how much you run. If you don't stop eating junk food, you're not going to lose weight. At the same time, if you're not working out to build muscle, you're not going to naturally increase your body's metabolism to have to run less. So in the same thing with investing, if you don't reinvest your money because you're too scared, your money is never going to make more money for you. So you're always going to be rich, working for your money. You're never going to become wealthy where the money is working for you and keep on giving you money. Like right now, my rental properties are out there. They're making me money and they keep sending me money every month. I don't have to really work. I got people that do all those things, all those jobs for me. Like that whole 4-hour work week, I have that life. But I really like opening up companies. So I keep on opening different companies and keep growing. It's just really fun for me. So yes, you're right, but it's what has to go is beyond books. It has to go into action, discipline, reading, right? You have to have all those other things in addition to just studying and reading. You have to have the action, you have to have the discipline, you have to have the courage to make those moves. A lot of people are just too scared. And I get it. I was there too, but you have to overcome that fear.
Yeah, no, for sure. So this is it goes with what I asked earlier and what you've been kind of speaking about. Everything that you speak about specifically pertains to real estate. However, the fundamentals of the concepts, that can be applied to anything. So lately, I've been looking into business acquisitions or purchasing. And so the same could be done so long as a good deal is found. And I find a seller that is highly motivated to sell because they want to retire or because someone in the family got sick. And that same brokering of the purchase of that business can be done using the same fundamentals that you're speaking about, whether relating to real estate.
Okay, so no, well, no, it's not that easy. No, buying a business to get a business loan is harder than a real estate loan because there's not tangible assets. 1, 2, you can lose way more money on a business deal than you want on a real estate deal because the real estate deal doesn't take as much to manage. And you can just turn that property over to a realtor and have them, handle that for you. But in a business deal, you have to manage it. It's not less likely you're going to hire someone to do it, and it is easier to go bankrupt. You can lose lots of money fast in a business deal.
No, I do know that.
Cool. So I'm gonna answer some more questions for other people, Sal, because I have to leave in a couple of minutes, and I want to make sure I get a couple more answers in.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you. All right. Let's try to answer a couple more questions before we wrap it up tonight. On YouTube, Gianna says, hey, Pascal, question. Let's say I get approved for a loan for my first property purchase. If all payments were made on time, how fast do you think the bank can approve me for another property? It doesn't matter. Immediately. You can get approved for 3 loans the same month. It's not about the property or your credit. It depends on how much is that investment property going to give you, right? It's about the incoming cash flow on that property. That is what matters. So it shouldn't really be a concern. Hugo says, do you have a manager? If so, how many units you had when you hired him or her? I did it myself. I just hired a manager now at 35 units. When you do it properly and you set it up properly, it takes a long time. Do not think it's overnight. But once it's set up, it basically runs itself. And you know what to do. If you have the right mentors or right people on your team to go and say, make phone calls, ask questions, hey, this is the problem. How do I fix this? It becomes really easy to make those moves. So at this point, I'm at 35 units. I hired an in-house property manager. She's also my bookkeeper and helps me with my taxes. So she does a lot of different jobs because, again, we have such a good system. We don't need a lot of people to do the work. Gianna says, the world would be a better place if you ran public schools. One day you'll vote for me as senator, and I will make sure that everyone in middle school and high school takes personal finance. And I think the world would be a better place if we were all financially educated to not make these bad financial decisions, which hold us back, which causes a lot of family problems and in friction in our society. So everyone feels that there is an inequality between each other, right? And there is an underlying inequality. But a lot of the problems we're making, I'm seeing that we're making bad financial decisions. The number one reason for divorce is for financial issues. So if we have all that in order, we can definitely have a lot less stress in our lives. So Lucy says, money doesn't make you wealthy. Knowledge does. That's correct. I mean, money is just an idea that's being transferred, right? It's a trade. It's not a thing itself. It's a tool. Gianna says, thank you as always. Appreciate the advice. You're welcome. So let's see here. A triplex, $350,000. Putting down 20% down after paying everything makes $700 a month. That a good deal? I think it's a pretty good deal. It's a pretty good deal. The question is, how much less? Like, for example, you're buying it for $350. What is it worth? What is the competition worth? If you made some upgrades, is it worth any more? If you put in $30,000 into it, is it worth $450,000? Can you raise, if you put $30,000 into it, can you raise the rent a significant amount, right? Can you say raise the rent $7,500 if you spent $30,000? So that would be raising the rent roughly about what would that be? About $200 is 24, $600. $600 a month. It is best to do maintenance work yourself or to pay someone and write it off on your taxes. Best if you actually pay someone and write it off on your taxes. Now, don't pay too much money for the work, but it's better to get someone else to do it. Because your time is the most valuable thing. You can make money. You can't make more time. Trying to see if I can add anybody else.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing?
I'm sorry, I'm sleeping now.
All right. Good night.
No, wait.
You got a question for us?
Yeah, I have a question.
Go ahead.
I mean, why real estate not like a normal business like a market or something?
So, I was top in my class in the stock market, right? I took finance in college. I have a finance degree, minor in mathematics. I got a second degree in accounting, minor in economics and international business. Top of my class. They gave us $100,000 of play money, and at the end of the quarter, I had more money than anybody else. I don't like it. It's not fun for me. 2, I make way more money in real estate. I did one real estate deal, and I made $1.2 million on it in the last 12 months. So when you know this game, you're able to leverage it a lot better. 90% of all millionaires were made through real estate. 90%. The game's a lot easier. The game is a lot easier in the real estate game. Plus, it's a lot more fun.
Yeah.
I can actually touch what I own.
Yeah, but in the US it's very easy. But in my country, like I live in Morocco, so if you want to be a real estate businessman, like you need relationships because it is very corrupted country, you know. So
true, but then again, you're probably the whole financial system is corrupt because I'm from Syria, and the whole system is corrupt. That's why America has a lot of benefits. Now, again, even in Morocco, you can invest in the stock market or you can invest in the real estate market in America. So you have, if you're going to invest in something outside of your country, you know, you could invest with real estate or the stock market. It's your choice.
Yeah, I'm going through e-com business. I'm growing it up. I'm 17 years old and I have like 5K in my balance. So
that's good.
I'm aiming for like a real estate business because, you know, I read about this thing about millionaires are like 80% are made by real estate business.
Yes.
So
yes,
I really want to go into this business. So what is your advice for me? Like, I don't have much of money because,
So I understand where you're from. Again, I started very similar to you, very little money, and I grew it. I grew it. Keep growing your money. Right now, what you're doing is just called working for your money. And you're going to have to work for your money because no one's handing you a bunch of money. No one handed me a bunch of money. Keep working for your money. Save it up. Stack it up. And then as you keep flipping your money, eventually it'll be large enough that you can invest it into real estate and have it grow without you doing anything.
I'm also getting into stock markets because I had an idea, like if you had $1,000 and if you are making 2% in one day of your capital, in 1 year you will have $1,003,000. Do you know this thing?
There's people that are paid $10 million a year to manage funds. Their pay is $10 million a year. And they cannot get better than 7% a year. They cannot make more than 7% a year. Now, I'm not saying you're only going to make 7%, but the idea that you're going to make $1,000 and flip it into $1 million, I mean, to be very good. Warren Buffett says, which is known to be as one of the best investors in history, he says, if I can make 15%, I'm doing great. Because remember, let me tell you this. This is what I learned. Because I used to do deals that would make a lot of money. And those deals, those stock deals, those flips, the ones that make you a lot of money are high risk. And at the same time, they could just as easy lose you all that money.
Yeah, but when we are talking about the normal stock market, it is like very hard to get like 2% in a day. But if you go to cryptocurrency, like the new thing, it is like very more easier because we have a lot more indicators to tell us where where the price is going.
Well, then that means your crypto would be your job. Because now you're being a day trader, then your other business would go. Yeah, but then again, I'm still telling you, it's almost impossible for you to flip $1,000 into $1 million. You want to try it? Go ahead. What you're going to do is you're going to come back and DM me, and you're like, Pascal, I just lost half of my money.
Yeah.
And this, I get that DM all the time, and it's normal. It happens. You're gambling. That's gambling, right? That is just straight gambling. It's speculation. When you're buying something, if you buy a piece of real estate and hope it goes up, it's called gambling. It's called speculation. If you don't know you're buying something under value and it's going to go up in value, that is not speculation. You know that's a business decision. It's a calculated risk. But if your hope is I'm going to buy it at $350, it's worth $350, and I hope it goes up, that's speculation.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying, this is what I'm trying to say. Can you make money in the stock market? Yes. Have I made money in the stock market? Yes. It is a lot of work. Okay. And that's called you working for your money. Eventually, after you make that money through the stock market and through other business ventures, you'll then be able to invest it into real estate and have the money work for you while you're not working.
Yeah. But I think that the e-com business is very good because I have some friends that they are making like 1,000 a week.
Okay.
It is very good, 1,000 a week in Morocco because
1,000 a week in America is very good. Depending on where you live, 1,000 a week in America is very good too. So if you're making money, keep doing what you're making money. Do you want to practice? Go ahead, practice, but stick to what's making you money.
Yeah. Thank you, man.
You're welcome, brother. Good luck.
All right, best. Bye-bye.
So Gianna says, I heard you need 20% down for any loan. I asked a question last week, and you spoke about putting 3.5% down on a $500,000 quadplex. How can you put down 3.5% down instead of 20%? So certain places like Wells Fargo is saying now they're only going to do 20% down loans, and they're making it more and more strict. If you go to a broker, they'll be able to find you a bank that will do an FHA loan, that will do a 3.5% down deal. So you have to look you have to have a broker look for you to find you the deal, and that's what a broker does. So we have an insurance brokerage, and we're opening up a mortgage brokerage. And what a broker does is they'll check all the companies out there, and they'll find what's the best deal for you. Because just like, for example, there's 20 different companies out there. Not all of them have the same rules, and not all of them will give you the same price, right? Some might have a little bit better option for your specific scenario. And that's what the broker does. They find it for you. Now, the good news is you don't even have to pay the broker. The company that he ends up placing your mortgage with ends up paying him. So like, say it does end up being with, say, Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo is going to pay the broker for the work that they did, So it doesn't cost you anything. All right, so guys, it's been an hour and a half. Sunday night, I'm tired. I had training this morning. I actually had training with Grandmaster Benny Mang. It was amazing. It was sick. Learned a lot of cool stuff. It was an amazing time. So, all right, guys, remember, link to the course is in my bio, Foundations of Personal Finance. I'll teach you credit, tax returns, mortgages, how to find and close on a deal, and the way an intelligent investor thinks. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave it in the comment section of this video once I save it. The video will go live on YouTube tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Thank you guys for liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing my page. I mean, that's the way you guys show thank you to me for the work that the education I'm giving you guys. I do want to see all of you guys successful, and lots of great deals coming. So anyone that wants to partner up on some deals, when they come up, DM me, let me know, send me your email, and I'll put you on the list. So when there's a good deal available, I'll let you guys know. I don't think anyone should buy anything for the next year unless you're getting at least 30% off on the deal. All right? Be blessed. God bless you guys, and I'll see you next time.